Hi, I'm David Magnitsky, one of the pastors at Manchac United Methodist Church. Thank you for joining me for this edition of Nourishment at Noon. I want to talk with you today about choices. Life is basically a matter of choices and a result of the choices we make. Which reminds me to go ahead and give a commercial that tomorrow at noon, I hope you will choose to tune in as Miss Kim leads us on a prayer journey. And then on Friday, Pastors Chanson and Jason Esparzo will be with us at noon. I also hope you'll join us on this Holy Week, Thursday night at 7, as we remember Jesus in the upper room on Facebook Live. And of course, Friday night at 7 is Good Friday. But as I mentioned, life is a matter of choices. I remember one person saying, we always have choices. We may not like the choices, but we will always have choices. Of course, the great Viktor Frankl, who found himself in a concentration camp in Nazi Germany, came to that realization that the Nazis could take everything away from him except what he thought about in his own mind and heart. He always had that choice. The important thing in life is not so much the things that happen to us, illness or job situation or even natural disasters. The important thing is the responses that we choose to make to these situations. So on this Wednesday of Holy Week, I want to talk with you about a Holy Week choice that the people were given according to Luke in chapter 23. The people were given a choice that they could release one of two prisoners. They could choose to have Barabbas, an insurrectionist, a revolutionary who had failed at it and been arrested, or they could choose to release the prophet, the man Jesus. It's a no-brainer, right? I mean, Jesus is good and kind and has been known to do miracles. And then there's Barabbas, who has already failed at being a revolutionary. It seems like a no-brainer, and in fact, it is a no-brainer. The jury is only out seconds, and the people respond, "Give us Barabbas." And they choose the failed revolutionary. Perhaps they reasoned in their mind, well, at least he tried something. Because Pilate responds immediately, well, what about Jesus? He's done nothing wrong. Well, the done nothing is a key phrase for the people. At least Barabbas had tried something. Jesus had not done anything that they could see that would help them be rid of the pesky Romans. And so they cried out for Barabbas. Was it a matter that they just didn't believe in Jesus? Well, when you begin to look beneath the surface, that may not be the issue at all. It may not be that they didn't believe in Jesus. Maybe they did believe in him. You see, by choosing Barabbas, the worst that happens is Barabbas goes out, tries again, and he fails. But by incarcerating Jesus further, I think they hoped that Jesus, if in fact he was the Messiah, the Son of God, when boxed into a corner, when trapped, might call on the angels of heaven and might zap the Romans at that point and gain his freedom and the freedom of the people. Perhaps they thought that if Jesus were trapped, he would have a Popeye moment where he would grab the can of spinach and eat it, and in his power he would rid them of the enemy. Or maybe like Thor with his hammer, he would call for his hammer and he would zap those around him. In fact, as you think about Holy Week, and one of the characters of Holy Week, Judas, who is often maligned because he betrayed Jesus, some people believe that Judas actually betrayed Jesus into the hands of the Romans because he had that very hope that if Jesus got trapped when he was arrested or trapped on a cross, that Jesus will finally say, this is enough, enough is enough. He would call on the angels of heaven and zap the Romans and free the people. Perhaps that's what he was hoping for. Well, if this is the case, then I begin to realize the question here at Holy Week is not, do you believe in Jesus, but rather, what do you believe in? Or what do you believe about Jesus? Do you believe that Jesus came to get rid of all of your problems and to just rid the people of the Romans and then rid you of any ills that you have in your life? Or do you believe that Jesus came to be with you in the midst of all of your problems? Do you believe that Jesus came on your timetable or my timetable and do what we want when we want it and the very way and time that we want it done? Or did Jesus come at someone else's timetable, the timetable of the Father? Or this, do you believe that Jesus came just to give you what you want? Or do you believe that Jesus came to give you what you most need? For as Frederick Buechner once said about the arrest and crucifixion of Jesus, it is a magnificent defeat. Because when he is captured and when he is cornered, he acts in an amazing way. It doesn't free people from the Romans, but it frees them from the power of sin and death. What do you believe about Jesus? The Jews used to comfort each other in times of Roman oppression when the Romans would overtax them or confiscate their land or do something to harm one of their family members. They would say, now don't worry. When the Messiah comes, this will be taken care of. When the Messiah comes, there'll be no more pain, no more oppression, no more misery. But as Fred Craddock said, once they saw Jesus come and go to the cross, and they began to think about the prophecies from Isaiah the prophet about a man who was a man of sorrows who would suffer on behalf of others, they began to realize that really the message about the Messiah is not that when the Messiah comes, there won't be any more pain. They began to realize the real message about this Messiah is when there is pain, the Messiah will come. What do you believe in the midst of the pain that we are enduring now? Do you believe that Jesus is here to eliminate it? Or do you believe that Jesus is here to be with us in the midst of it until one day we come through with him to be the people he has called us to be? It's not do you believe in Jesus, but what do you believe about Jesus?